In a bustling city, young Jacob was on his way to school. Despite his modest background, Jacob was a bright student with big dreams. His mother, a hard-working single parent, had instilled in him the values of kindness and respect. They lived in a small apartment in a less affluent part of town, but Jacob's optimistic spirit always shone through. One crisp morning, Jacob boarded the city bus, as he did every day. He found a seat near the front and began reading a book for his history class. The bus was crowded, with people from all walks of life heading to their daily destinations. Jacob's stop was still a few blocks away when the bus halted abruptly. An elderly man, frail and struggling to maintain his balance, entered the bus. Seeing the man's difficulty, Jacob immediately stood up and offered his seat. "Sir, you can sit here," he said, guiding the elderly man to the now vacant spot. The man, surprised but grateful, nodded and sat down with a sigh of relief. "Thank you, young man," the elderly man said, his voice trembling slightly. Jacob smiled warmly. "It's no problem at all. Are you heading somewhere far?" The elderly man glanced out the window, his eyes distant. "Just going to see an old friend," he replied, avoiding details. Jacob noticed the man's worn-out clothes and the tired look in his eyes, but he didn't press further. As the bus continued its journey, Jacob engaged in light conversation with the man, learning that his name was Mr. Anderson. They talked about the weather, the city, and even shared a few laughs. Jacob mentioned his school and his favorite subjects, while Mr. Anderson listened intently, a faint smile on his face. When Jacob's stop arrived, he said his goodbyes and exited the bus. Mr. Anderson watched him leave, a thoughtful expression on his face. Little did Jacob know, this small act of kindness would set off a series of events that would change his life forever. Jacob went through his school day, the encounter with Mr. Anderson lingering in his mind. He didn't think much of it, but felt good about having helped someone in need. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson, after reaching his destination, couldn't shake off the memory of the kind boy who had given up his seat for him. That evening, as Jacob did his homework, his mother noticed his thoughtful demeanor. "Everything all right, Jacob?" she asked. "Yeah, Mom," Jacob replied, smiling. "I just helped an old man on the bus today. It felt good." His mother patted his shoulder. "That's my boy. Always be kind, no matter what." Jacob nodded, feeling a sense of pride. He went to bed that night, unaware of the significant impact his simple act of kindness would soon have. The next few days went by uneventfully for Jacob. He continued his daily routine of attending school, studying hard, and helping his mother with household chores. Despite their financial struggles, they shared a close bond and a hopeful outlook on life. One afternoon, as Jacob was walking home from school, he noticed a familiar figure standing near the bus stop. It was Mr. Anderson. The elderly man seemed to be waiting for someone, his eyes scanning the busy street. "Mr. Anderson," Jacob called out, waving as he approached. The old man's face lit up with recognition. "Jacob, my boy. It's good to see you again," Mr. Anderson replied, his smile warm and genuine. "What brings you here?" Jacob asked curiously. Mr. Anderson looked around nervously before responding. "I'm waiting for a friend. But it's always nice to run into good company." Jacob decided to stay and chat with Mr. Anderson while he waited. They talked about Jacob's school projects, his favorite books, and his plans for the future. Mr. Anderson listened with interest, occasionally offering words of wisdom and encouragement. As the conversation flowed, Jacob noticed a sleek, black car pulling up to the curb. A well-dressed man in a suit stepped out and approached Mr. Anderson with a respectful nod. "Mr. Anderson, the car is ready. Shall we go?" Jacob was taken aback. He had assumed Mr. Anderson was just an ordinary elderly man, but the appearance of the luxury car and the respectful demeanor of the driver suggested otherwise. Mr. Anderson turned to Jacob with a gentle smile. "Jacob, I must be going now, but it was wonderful seeing you again. Thank you for keeping me company." "Of course, Mr. Anderson. Take care," Jacob replied, still puzzled by the scene before him. As Mr. Anderson got into the car, he handed Jacob a small card. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out," he said before the car drove away. Jacob stared at the card in his hand. It was simple yet elegant, bearing Mr. Anderson's name and a contact number. He slipped it into his pocket, unsure of what to make of the encounter. As he walked home, he couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to Mr. Anderson than met the eye. That evening, Jacob mentioned the strange encounter to his mother. "Mom, remember the old man I helped on the bus? I saw him again today, and he was picked up in a fancy car with a driver. He gave me this card," he said, showing her the card. His mother examined it, her brow furrowing. "Interesting. Maybe he's someone important. You never know, Jacob. Life has a way of surprising us." Jacob nodded, still intrigued by the mystery surrounding Mr. Anderson. He decided to keep the card safe, wondering if he would ever have a reason to use it. The following weeks were busy for Jacob, filled with schoolwork and helping his mother. However, the thought of Mr. Anderson and the mysterious card lingered in his mind. He often found himself wondering about the old man's true identity and why he had been so generous. One Saturday afternoon, as Jacob was cleaning his room, he found the card again. He held it, contemplating whether he should call the number. After a moment of hesitation, he dialed the number and waited. A familiar voice answered. "Hello, this is Mr. Anderson." "Mr. Anderson, it's Jacob," he said nervously. "I hope I'm not bothering you. I just wanted to say hello and see how you were doing." Mr. Anderson's voice brightened. "Jacob, my boy, it's so good to hear from you." "I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?" They talked for a while, catching up on each other's lives. Jacob felt a sense of comfort and connection with Mr. Anderson, despite the mystery surrounding him. Before they ended the call, Mr. Anderson invited Jacob and his mother to his home for dinner. "I would love for you and your mother to join me for dinner sometime. I have a feeling there's much more we could talk about," Mr. Anderson said warmly. Jacob accepted the invitation, excited and curious about what the evening would hold. The day of the dinner arrived, and Jacob and his mother, Anna, prepared themselves for the evening. Anna had been curious about Mr. Anderson since Jacob first mentioned him, and she was eager to meet the man who had shown such kindness to her son. Jacob and Anna took a cab to the address Mr. Anderson had provided. As they approached, they were both taken aback by the grandeur of the mansion before them. It was a large, beautifully maintained estate with sprawling gardens and an air of old-world charm. "Wow, Jacob," Anna whispered. "This place is incredible. Mr. Anderson must be someone very important." Jacob nodded, equally impressed and slightly nervous. They walked up to the front door, and before they could knock, it swung open to reveal Mr. Anderson, smiling warmly. "Welcome, welcome," he greeted them, extending his hand. "Please come in." They entered the grand foyer, and Mr. Anderson led them through a series of elegantly decorated rooms to a cozy dining area. The table was set with fine china and crystal glasses, and the aroma of delicious food filled the air. "Please make yourselves at home," Mr. Anderson said, motioning for them to sit. "Dinner will be ready shortly." As they sat down, Mr. Anderson began to share stories about the history of his home and his life. He spoke of his late wife, his travels around the world, and his love for philanthropy. Jacob and Anna listened intently, fascinated by his tales. "Mr. Anderson, if you don't mind me asking," Anna said hesitantly, "what do you do for a living?" Mr. Anderson chuckled softly. "Please, call me Richard. I suppose you could say I'm retired now, but I used to be heavily involved in the business world. Investments, real estate, and various enterprises kept me busy for many years. But now, I focus on giving back to the community." Jacob's curiosity got the better of him. "Richard, why were you on the bus that day? You don't seem like the type who would need to take public transportation." Richard smiled wistfully. That. Well, sometimes I like to remind myself of where I came from. You see, Jacob, I wasn't always wealthy. I grew up in a modest home, much like yours. Taking the bus now and then helps me stay grounded and remember my roots." The conversation continued over a sumptuous dinner. Richard asked Jacob and Anna about their lives, their dreams, and their challenges. He was genuinely interested and offered advice and support whenever he could. As dessert was being served, Richard's demeanor became more serious. "Jacob, Anna, there's something important I need to share with you both. You see, I've been doing some research, and I've discovered something quite astonishing." Jacob and Anna exchanged puzzled glances. "What is it, Richard?" Anna asked. Richard took a deep breath. "Jacob, do you remember when we first met on the bus? That day was no coincidence. I was actually looking for someone very special, and I believe that someone is you." Jacob's eyes widened in surprise. "Me? Why?" Richard reached into his pocket and pulled out an old photograph. He handed it to Jacob, who looked at it closely. It was a picture of a young woman who looked remarkably like his mother. "That's my mother," Jacob said, his voice trembling. "But how?" Richard nodded. "Yes, Jacob. Your mother and I have a connection that goes back many years. Anna, you might not remember, but I knew your parents. We were close friends in our youth." Anna gasped, covering her mouth with her hand. "I remember now. Richard, you were Uncle Richard, my father's best friend. But we lost touch after they passed away." Richard nodded, his eyes filled with emotion. "Yes, Anna, I promised your parents that I would look after you if anything ever happened to them. But life took us in different directions, and it took me years to find you again." Jacob and Anna were speechless, trying to process the revelation. Richard continued, his voice gentle but firm. "Jacob, Anna, I want to fulfill that promise. I want to help you achieve your dreams and ensure you have the opportunities you deserve." Tears welled up in Anna's eyes as she reached out to hold Richard's hand. "Thank you, Richard. I can't believe this. It's like a dream." Jacob, still in shock, managed to smile. "I don't know what to say, Richard. Thank you for everything." Richard smiled warmly. "No need to thank me. We're family, and family takes care of each other. Now, let's enjoy the rest of the evening and make plans for the future." As they continued to talk and share stories, Jacob and Anna felt a sense of hope and belonging they hadn't felt in years. Richard's kindness and generosity had transformed their lives, and they knew that this was just the beginning of a new and exciting chapter. The days following the dinner were filled with a whirlwind of emotions and activities. Richard, true to his word, began making arrangements to support Jacob and Anna in every possible way. He arranged for a scholarship fund to ensure Jacob could attend the best schools, and even set up a trust fund to provide for their future needs. One evening, Richard invited Jacob and Anna back to his mansion for a more formal discussion about the plans he had for them. They sat in the luxurious living room, feeling both excited and overwhelmed by the generosity being shown to them. "Jacob, I see a lot of potential in you," Richard began, looking at the young boy with a kind but serious expression. "You have the drive and the intelligence to achieve great things. I want to ensure you have the resources to reach your full potential." Jacob nodded, feeling a mix of gratitude and determination. "Thank you, Richard. I promise I won't let you down." Richard smiled. "I know you won't. That's why I've decided to enroll you in one of the best private schools in the city. You'll receive a top-notch education, and I'll personally mentor you in business and investments. I want you to be prepared for anything life throws your way." Anna, still trying to process the incredible changes happening so quickly, spoke up. "Richard, this is all so overwhelming. We are so grateful, but I just want to make sure Jacob doesn't lose sight of who he is and where he comes from." Richard nodded, understanding her concerns. "Anna, you have my word. Jacob will remain grounded. I'll ensure he stays connected to his roots and values. And you, Anna, I want to help you too. Is there anything you've always dreamed of doing?" Anna hesitated, feeling a bit shy. "Well, I've always loved cooking. I've dreamed of opening a small cafe, a place where people can come and enjoy homemade meals." Richard's eyes lit up. "That sounds wonderful. Let's make that dream a reality. I'll provide the funding and help you set it up. With your passion and talent, I'm sure it will be a great success." Anna's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. "Thank you, Richard. This means the world to me." As the weeks went by, Richard's plans for Jacob and Anna began to take shape. Jacob started attending the prestigious private school, where he quickly adapted and excelled in his studies. He made new friends and found himself enjoying the challenging curriculum. Richard's mentorship proved invaluable, and Jacob began to understand the complexities of business and finance. Meanwhile, Anna's dream of opening a cafe became a reality. With Richard's financial support and guidance, she found a charming location in a bustling part of town. She worked tirelessly to create a warm and welcoming atmosphere, where people could enjoy delicious homemade meals and baked goods. The cafe quickly became popular, attracting a loyal customer base. Richard visited often, offering advice and encouragement. He was impressed by Anna's dedication and the way she managed her business. The cafe was not just a place for good food. It became a community hub where people gathered, shared stories, and made memories. One evening, as Jacob was finishing his homework, Richard invited him to the study for a private conversation. Jacob entered the room, feeling a mix of curiosity and anticipation. "Jacob, I want to talk to you about something important," Richard began, his tone serious. "I've been thinking a lot about the future and what it holds for you. You've shown incredible potential, and I believe you're ready for a new challenge." Jacob listened intently, eager to hear what Richard had to say. "I want to give you the opportunity to intern at one of my companies," Richard continued. "It's a chance for you to gain real-world experience, to see how businesses operate from the inside. You'll learn invaluable skills that will prepare you for the future." Jacob's eyes widened with excitement. "Really? I'd love that, Richard. Thank you for believing in me. Richard smiled. It's my pleasure, Jacob. You've earned it. Now, let's start planning your first day. As Jacob and Richard discussed the details of the internship, Jacob felt a sense of purpose and determination. He was ready to take on this new challenge and make the most of the opportunities Richard had provided. The following Monday, Jacob arrived at the headquarters of one of Richard's companies, a large and imposing building in the heart of the city. He felt a mixture of nerves and excitement as he walked through the revolving doors and approached the receptionist. "Good morning, I'm Jacob, here for an internship," he said, trying to sound confident. The receptionist smiled warmly. "Good morning, Jacob. Mr. Anderson has been expecting you. Please take the elevator to the 15th floor. His assistant, Ms. Johnson, will meet you there." Jacob thanked her and made his way to the elevator, his heart pounding in his chest. As the elevator ascended, he took a deep breath, reminding himself of all the encouragement Richard had given him. When the doors opened, Jacob was greeted by Ms. Johnson, a professional and friendly woman in her 30s. "Welcome, Jacob. We're excited to have you here," she said, shaking his hand. "Mr. Anderson has planned a tour for you this morning to help you get acquainted with our operations." Jacob followed Ms. Johnson as she led him through the bustling offices, introducing him to various department heads and explaining the company's structure. He was impressed by the efficiency and professionalism of the staff, and he eagerly absorbed every bit of information. The tour ended in a large conference room where Richard was waiting. "Jacob, how was the tour?" he asked, smiling warmly. "It was great, Richard. Everyone has been so welcoming," Jacob replied. "Good to hear. Now, let's talk about what you'll be doing here," Richard said, motioning for Jacob to take a seat. "You'll start by shadowing different departments, learning how each one operates and contributes to the company's success. After that, we'll assign you to a specific project where you can apply what you've learned." Jacob nodded, excited by the prospect of gaining hands-on experience. "I'm ready to get started." For the next few weeks, Jacob immersed himself in his internship. He spent time in the marketing, finance, and operations departments, learning the ins and outs of each area. He asked questions, took detailed notes, and impressed everyone with his eagerness to learn and his sharp mind. One day, while working in the finance department, Jacob stumbled upon a discrepancy in the company's quarterly reports. He hesitated for a moment, unsure if he should bring it up, but then decided to discuss it with his supervisor, Mr. Thompson. "Excuse me, Mr. Thompson, I noticed something in the reports that doesn't seem right," Jacob said, showing him the figures. Mr. Thompson reviewed the data and raised an eyebrow. "Good catch, Jacob. This discrepancy could have serious implications if not addressed. I'll need to look into this further." Later that day, Mr. Thompson approached Jacob with a serious expression. "Jacob, your attention to detail has uncovered a significant error. We're going to investigate this further, and I want you to be part of the team handling this." Jacob was both nervous and proud. "Of course, Mr. Thompson. I'm happy to help." Over the next few days, Jacob worked closely with Mr. Thompson and a team of analysts to identify the source of the discrepancy. They discovered that an accounting error had led to an overstatement of profits, which could have resulted in serious financial and legal consequences for the company. Richard called Jacob into his office after the issue was resolved. "Jacob, I heard about the excellent work you did in uncovering that error. You demonstrated remarkable diligence and responsibility." "Thank you, Richard. I just wanted to make sure everything was accurate," Jacob replied modestly. Richard smiled. Your actions have had a significant positive impact on the company. I'm proud of you, Jacob. Keep up the great work." Jacob left Richard's office with a renewed sense of confidence. He continued to excel in his internship, gaining valuable experience and building strong relationships with his colleagues. He knew that he was on the right path, and he was determined to make the most of every opportunity. As Jacob's internship progressed, he became more involved in the company's strategic planning meetings. Richard believed in giving him exposure to high-level decision-making processes, which would be invaluable for his future. Jacob thrived in this environment, contributing thoughtful insights and learning from experienced professionals. One afternoon, after a particularly intense meeting about a potential merger, Richard invited Jacob to join him for lunch in his private office. They discussed the meeting and the broader implications of the merger, and then Richard shifted the conversation to a more personal topic. "Jacob, I've been thinking a lot about family lately," Richard began, looking thoughtful. "Your presence in my life has made me reflect on the importance of connections and the legacies we leave behind." Jacob listened intently, sensing the gravity of Richard's words. "There's something I haven't told you yet," Richard continued. "Remember when I mentioned that I knew your grandparents and that we were close friends? There's more to that story. Your grandfather, William, was not just my best friend. He was also my business partner." Jacob's eyes widened in surprise. "I had no idea. My mom never talked much about those days." Richard nodded. "William and I started this company together from the ground up. We shared everything: dreams, challenges, and successes. When he passed away, it was one of the hardest times of my life. Losing him felt like losing a part of myself." Jacob felt a lump in his throat. "My mom always spoke fondly of her parents, but I never knew about their connection to you and the company." Richard leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Jacob, your family is part of my legacy. I want you to know that you have a rightful place here, not just because of your hard work and potential, but because of the bond that ties our families together." Jacob was overwhelmed by the revelation. "Thank you, Richard. This means more to me than you can imagine." Richard smiled warmly. "It's my pleasure, Jacob. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you." He led Jacob to a part of the building he had never seen before, a small, private museum dedicated to the history of the company. The walls were lined with photographs, documents, and memorabilia from the early days of the business. "This is our heritage," Richard said, gesturing to a large photograph of two young men standing in front of a modest storefront. "That's your grandfather and me, on the day we opened our first office." Jacob stared at the photograph, feeling a deep sense of pride and connection. "It's incredible to see where it all began." Richard placed a hand on Jacob's shoulder. "I want you to know that I'm here to support you every step of the way. You're part of this legacy, and together, we'll continue to build on it." Jacob nodded, his heart full of gratitude and determination. "I'll do my best to honor this legacy, Richard. Thank you for believing in me." As they left the museum, Jacob felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was not only working for his future, but also carrying forward the dreams and aspirations of those who came before him. The bond between him and Richard grew stronger, rooted in a shared history and a commitment to the future. Back at the office, Jacob continued to excel, now with an even deeper understanding of his place within the company. He felt more connected to his family's past and more determined than ever to make a meaningful contribution. His relationship with Richard evolved from mentorship to something akin to a father-son dynamic, filled with mutual respect and affection. Jacob's mother, Anna, also felt the impact of these revelations. She visited the office one day to see the museum and learn more about her parents' involvement in the company. It was an emotional experience for her, filled with memories and a sense of reconnection with her roots. As the weeks turned into months, Jacob's journey at the company became a testament to the power of family, legacy, and hard work. He knew that the road ahead would have its challenges, but he was ready to face them with the support of Richard and the memory of his grandfather guiding him. Months passed, and Jacob's role within the company continued to grow. His confidence and expertise blossomed under Richard's mentorship, and he began to take on more significant responsibilities. One morning, Richard called Jacob into his office for an important discussion. "Jacob, there's a new project I want you to lead," Richard said, sliding a folder across his desk. "It's an expansion initiative that we've been planning for a while, but we need someone with fresh ideas and determination to spearhead it." Jacob opened the folder and saw the details of the project. It involved expanding the company's operations into a new international market, a task that would require meticulous planning, strategic thinking, and exceptional leadership. "I'm honored, Richard," Jacob replied, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. "I'll give it my all." Richard smiled. "I know you will. You've shown incredible promise, and I believe you're ready for this challenge. You'll have a team to support you, and I'll be here to guide you whenever you need." Jacob spent the next few days immersing himself in the project. He researched the new market, analyzed potential risks and opportunities, and began formulating a comprehensive strategy. He assembled a team of talented individuals, each bringing unique skills and perspectives to the table. One evening, as Jacob was working late in his office, his mother Anna stopped by. "You've been working so hard, Jacob," she said, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing." Jacob looked up, smiling. "Thanks, Mom. It's a big project, but I'm excited about it. I want to make Richard proud." Anna sat down across from him. "You already have, Jacob. And remember, it's important to take care of yourself too. Don't burn out." "I know," Jacob replied. "It's just that this project feels like a chance to prove myself, to show that I can handle bigger responsibilities." Anna nodded. "I understand. But remember, success is not just about the work you do. It's also about balance and taking care of your well-being." Jacob appreciated his mother's words. She had always been his grounding force, reminding him of the importance of balance in life. He promised to take breaks and not let the pressure overwhelm him. As the weeks went by, Jacob's dedication to the project paid off. He led his team with confidence and clarity, navigating challenges and making strategic decisions. The expansion initiative began to take shape, and the company's entry into the new market looked promising. One day, Richard invited Jacob to a meeting with the board of directors to present the progress of the project. It was a significant moment for Jacob, as it was his first time addressing the board in such a capacity. Jacob entered the boardroom, feeling a mix of nerves and excitement. He had prepared thoroughly and was ready to showcase the hard work of his team. Richard introduced him to the board, highlighting his contributions and potential. "Good morning, everyone," Jacob began, addressing the board members. "Today, I'll be presenting our progress on the International Expansion Initiative. Our goal is to establish a strong presence in the new market while maintaining the values and standards that define our company." As Jacob spoke, he felt a growing sense of confidence. He presented the data, outlined the strategy, and addressed potential risks with clarity and assurance. The board members listened attentively, nodding in approval. When Jacob finished his presentation, the room erupted in applause. Richard stood up, beaming with pride. "Excellent work, Jacob. Your dedication and leadership are truly impressive." The board members echoed Richard's sentiments, praising Jacob for his thoroughness and vision. Jacob felt a deep sense of accomplishment and gratitude. He knew that his hard work and Richard's guidance had brought him to this moment. After the meeting, Richard pulled Jacob aside. "I'm incredibly proud of you, Jacob. You've proven yourself to be a valuable asset to this company." "Thank you, Richard," Jacob replied, his heart full. "I couldn't have done it without your support and mentorship." Richard smiled. "Remember, Jacob, this is just the beginning. There are many more challenges and opportunities ahead, and I have no doubt that you'll continue to excel." Jacob left the boardroom that day with a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that the road ahead would be filled with challenges, but he was ready to face them head-on. With Richard's support and the strength of his family's legacy behind him, he felt confident in his ability to lead and succeed. As Jacob continued to lead the international expansion project, he faced unexpected challenges that tested his resolve. One afternoon, while reviewing the latest market analysis, he received a call from one of his team members, Lisa, who was handling the logistics for the expansion. "Jacob, we have a problem," Lisa said, her voice tense. "Our primary shipping partner just backed out of our agreement. They cited internal issues, and now we're left scrambling for a replacement." Jacob felt a wave of frustration but quickly composed himself. "Thanks for letting me know, Lisa. Let's schedule an emergency meeting with the logistics team to brainstorm solutions." In the meeting, the team discussed alternative shipping partners and contingency plans. Jacob encouraged everyone to think creatively and not to lose hope. "We knew this project would have its challenges," he said, "but I believe in our ability to overcome them." After a long discussion, the team identified a few potential shipping partners and decided to reach out to them immediately. Jacob delegated tasks, ensuring that each team member knew their role in addressing the issue. Despite the setback, Jacob remained optimistic. However, as the days went by, more challenges emerged. Regulatory hurdles in the new market slowed down their progress, and unforeseen cultural differences created communication barriers with local partners. One evening, as Jacob was working late, Richard entered his office. "Jacob, I heard about the challenges you're facing," he said, sitting down across from him. "How are you holding up?" Jacob sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's been tough, Richard. Every time we solve one problem, another one seems to pop up. I'm starting to worry that we might not be able to meet our deadlines." Richard nodded, his expression serious but supportive. "I've been through many projects like this, Jacob. Setbacks are inevitable, but how we respond to them defines our success. Remember, it's okay to ask for help and to lean on your team." Jacob appreciated Richard's words. "Thanks, Richard. I'll keep that in mind. I just don't want to let you or the team down." "You won't," Richard said firmly. "I have complete faith in you. And remember, I'm here to help you navigate these challenges. Let's brainstorm together and find a way forward." With Richard's guidance, Jacob felt a renewed sense of determination. They worked late into the night, developing strategies to overcome the regulatory hurdles and improve communication with local partners. Richard's experience and wisdom were invaluable, and Jacob felt grateful for his mentorship. The next day, Jacob called another team meeting to share the new strategies they had developed. "We have a solid plan to address the regulatory issues and improve our partnerships," he said. "I know it's been tough, but we're making progress. Let's keep pushing forward." The team responded with renewed energy, and Jacob felt their support bolstering his own resolve. They implemented the new strategies, reaching out to local experts for guidance on regulatory compliance, and hiring a cultural liaison to facilitate better communication with local partners. As the weeks passed, the team gradually overcame the challenges. They secured a new shipping partner, navigated the regulatory hurdles, and built stronger relationships with their local partners. Jacob's leadership and resilience had guided them through the toughest moments, and the project was back on track. One day, Lisa approached Jacob with a smile. "Jacob, I just got off the phone with our new shipping partner. They confirmed that everything is set for our first shipment. We're back on schedule." Jacob felt a wave of relief and pride. "That's fantastic news, Lisa. Thank you for all your hard work." Later that day, Richard called Jacob into his office. "I heard the good news," Richard said, smiling. "You did an excellent job navigating those challenges, Jacob. I'm proud of you." "Thank you, Richard," Jacob replied. "I couldn't have done it without your support and the amazing team we have." Richard nodded. "This project has been a test of your leadership, and you've passed with flying colors. Remember, setbacks are part of the journey. What matters is how we overcome them." Jacob left Richard's office with a renewed sense of confidence. The challenges had tested him, but they had also strengthened him. He knew there would be more obstacles ahead, but he was ready to face them with resilience and determination. As the international expansion project regained momentum, Jacob found himself more immersed in his work than ever. The demands of the project were relentless, requiring long hours and intense focus. Despite the support from his team and Richard, the pressure weighed heavily on him. Jacob's dedication to the project began to take a toll on his personal life. He spent less time with his friends and family, often missing gatherings and events. His mother, Anna, noticed the change and became concerned. One evening, Anna invited Jacob over for dinner, hoping to have a heart-to-heart conversation. As they sat down to eat, Anna gently brought up her concerns. "Jacob, I've noticed you've been working non-stop lately," she said, her voice filled with concern. "I'm proud of your dedication, but I'm worried about you. You need to take care of yourself too." Jacob sighed, feeling the weight of his mother's words. "I know, Mom. This project is incredibly important, and I want to prove myself. But sometimes, it feels like there's no end to the work." Anna reached across the table, taking Jacob's hand. "I understand, but you can't sacrifice your well-being for your career. You need balance. Remember, your health and happiness are just as important." Jacob nodded, knowing his mother was right. "I'll try to find a better balance, Mom. I promise." Despite his promise, Jacob found it difficult to change his habits. The project continued to demand his attention, and he struggled to find time for anything else. He often stayed late at the office, working into the early hours of the morning. One evening, as Jacob was preparing to leave the office, Richard walked in. "Jacob, can we talk for a moment?" he asked, his tone serious. "Of course," Jacob replied, setting his work aside. Richard sat down, his expression thoughtful. "I've been in your shoes before, Jacob. I know the pressure you're under. But I've also learned the hard way that burning yourself out doesn't lead to success. It leads to mistakes and regrets." Jacob listened, feeling the weight of Richard's words. "I want to succeed, Richard. I want to make you proud and prove that I can handle this." "I know you do," Richard said. "And you have." But success isn't just about work. It's about balance, health, and relationships. You need to take care of yourself, or you won't be able to give your best. Jacob sighed, feeling the tension in his shoulders. It's just so hard to step back when there's so much to do. Richard leaned forward, his eyes earnest. Delegate more to your team. Trust them to handle some of the workload. Take time for yourself. Recharge. You'll be more effective if you're not constantly running on empty. Jacob nodded, realizing the truth in Richard's advice. I'll try, Richard. Thank you for the reminder. Over the next few weeks, Jacob made a conscious effort to find a better balance. He delegated more tasks to his capable team, trusting them to handle the responsibilities. He also started setting boundaries for himself, ensuring he left the office at a reasonable hour and took weekends off. Slowly, Jacob began to feel more balanced. He spent more time with his family and friends, rekindling connections that had been neglected. He also took up running, finding it a great way to clear his mind and relieve stress. One Saturday morning, as Jacob was out for a run, he encountered his old friend Alex. They hadn't seen each other in months, and Alex was surprised to see Jacob looking more relaxed and fit. "Jacob, long time no see," Alex called out, jogging over to him. "Hey, Alex. It's been a while," Jacob replied, smiling. They jogged together, catching up on each other's lives. Jacob shared his journey of balancing work and personal life, and Alex was supportive. "It's good to see you taking care of yourself, Jacob," Alex said. "You were always so driven, but it's important to remember that life isn't just about work." Jacob nodded, feeling grateful for the support of his friends and family. "Thanks, Alex. I'm learning that balance is key. I feel better, and I think it's making me a better leader too." As Jacob continued to find balance in his life, the project progressed smoothly. His team, feeling empowered by the trust he placed in them, performed exceptionally well. The international expansion was on track, and Jacob felt a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment. Richard noticed the positive change in Jacob and felt proud of his protégé. He knew that Jacob's journey was a testament to the importance of balance and resilience in the face of challenges. Jacob's personal sacrifices had led to valuable lessons. He learned that success wasn't just about hard work. It was about maintaining balance, nurturing relationships, and taking care of oneself. With these lessons in mind, Jacob felt ready to face any challenge that lay ahead. As Jacob's project neared completion, the positive results began to attract attention from within the company and beyond. The successful navigation of challenges and the strategic expansion into a new market highlighted Jacob's leadership and vision. His hard work and dedication did not go unnoticed. One afternoon, Richard called Jacob into his office for a discussion. "Jacob, I have some exciting news," Richard began, a smile playing on his lips. "The board of directors has been closely monitoring the progress of the expansion project. They are extremely impressed with your performance and the results you've achieved." Jacob felt a surge of pride and anticipation. "That's great to hear, Richard. Thank you for your support and guidance throughout this journey." Richard nodded, his eyes shining with pride. "You've earned this recognition, Jacob. The board has decided to promote you to Vice President of International Operations. It's a significant step up, and it reflects your hard work and the trust we have in your abilities." Jacob was momentarily speechless. The promotion was beyond his expectations, and it represented a huge milestone in his career. "Thank you, Richard. This means a lot to me. I'll do my best to live up to the responsibilities of this new role." "I have no doubt that you will," Richard replied warmly. "You've proven yourself to be a capable leader, and I know you'll continue to excel. There will be a formal announcement at the company-wide meeting next week." The news of Jacob's promotion spread quickly throughout the company, and congratulations poured in from colleagues and team members. His team was especially thrilled, knowing that their hard work and collaboration had contributed to this success. The following week, at the company-wide meeting, Richard stood before the assembled employees to make the announcement. "I'm pleased to announce that Jacob has been promoted to Vice President of International Operations," Richard declared, his voice filled with pride. "Jacob's leadership and dedication have been instrumental in our successful expansion, and we look forward to his continued contributions in this new role." The room erupted in applause, and Jacob felt a mix of pride and humility as he stood up to address his colleagues. "Thank you, everyone," he began, his voice steady despite the emotion he felt. "This achievement is not just mine. It's the result of the hard work and support of my incredible team and the guidance of our leadership. I'm excited for the future and committed to driving our success forward." After the meeting, Jacob was approached by colleagues, each offering their congratulations and well wishes. Among them was Lisa, who had been a crucial part of his team during the project. "Congratulations, Jacob," Lisa said, shaking his hand. "You deserve this promotion. It's been an honor working with you." "Thank you, Lisa," Jacob replied, smiling warmly. "Your support and hard work have been invaluable. I couldn't have done it without you and the rest of the team." As the celebrations continued, Jacob reflected on his journey. The challenges, sacrifices, and lessons learned had shaped him into the leader he had become. He felt grateful for the support of his family, especially his mother, Anna, whose encouragement had been a constant source of strength. That evening, Jacob invited his mother to dinner to share the news. They went to their favorite restaurant, and over a delicious meal, Jacob recounted the events of the past few weeks. "Mom, I have some exciting news," Jacob began, his eyes shining with pride. "I've been promoted to Vice President of International Operations." Anna's face lit up with joy. "Oh, Jacob, that's wonderful. I'm so proud of you. All your hard work has paid off." "Thank you, Mom," Jacob said, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Your support and advice have meant the world to me. I couldn't have done it without you." Anna reached across the table, squeezing Jacob's hand. "I'm just glad to see you happy and fulfilled. Remember to keep that balance we've talked about. Your health and happiness are just as important as your career." "I will, Mom," Jacob promised. "I've learned that lesson well. This promotion is just the beginning, and I'm excited for what the future holds." As they celebrated together, Jacob felt a renewed sense of purpose. The recognition and reward were validation of his efforts, but more importantly, they were a testament to the power of perseverance, balance, and the support of loved ones. Jacob's journey had been marked by challenges and triumphs, but through it all, he had remained true to his values and had emerged stronger. With his new role, he was ready to lead the company into a promising future, confident in his abilities and grateful for the support that had helped him along the way. With his promotion to Vice President of International Operations, Jacob found himself facing a new set of challenges. His responsibilities expanded significantly, requiring him to oversee multiple projects across different regions. The scope of his work grew, and so did the complexities involved in managing an international team. Jacob's first major task in his new role was to lead the expansion into the Asian market. This was a crucial step for the company's growth, and the board of directors had high expectations. Jacob knew that success in this market would solidify his position and demonstrate his capability to handle the increased responsibilities. He began by assembling a diverse team of experts with extensive knowledge of the Asian market. Among them was May, a seasoned professional with deep insights into the cultural and economic nuances of the region. Jacob valued her expertise and knew she would be instrumental in guiding their strategy. "May, I'm relying on your experience to help us navigate this market," Jacob said during their first meeting. "Your insights will be invaluable as we develop our approach." May nodded, her expression serious but confident. "I'm excited for the opportunity, Jacob. We'll need to be mindful of the cultural differences and business practices unique to each country in the region. Building strong local relationships will be key." Jacob and his team spent weeks conducting market research, analyzing consumer behavior, and identifying potential partners. They held numerous meetings with local business leaders, government officials, and potential clients to understand the landscape and build rapport. Despite their meticulous planning, Jacob encountered unexpected challenges. Language barriers and cultural differences sometimes led to misunderstandings, and regulatory hurdles added complexity to their efforts. Jacob knew that patience and adaptability were essential. One afternoon, while reviewing their progress with May, Jacob expressed his concerns. "We're facing more obstacles than I anticipated. How can we ensure we're on the right track?" May offered a thoughtful response. "Jacob, challenges are inevitable in such a diverse and dynamic market. We need to stay flexible and responsive. Let's focus on building strong local partnerships. They can help us navigate the regulatory landscape and bridge cultural gaps." Jacob agreed and decided to take a more collaborative approach. He encouraged his team to seek local advice and involve regional experts in their decision-making process. This strategy proved effective, and gradually, they started to see positive results. As the months passed, Jacob's team secured key partnerships and successfully launched several pilot projects. The feedback from local partners and clients was encouraging, and the company's presence in the Asian market began to grow. One evening, as Jacob was working late in his office, Richard stopped by. "Jacob, I've been following your progress closely," Richard said, taking a seat across from him. "You're doing an excellent job. The board is impressed with how you're handling the expansion." Jacob felt a sense of relief and pride. "Thank you, Richard. It's been challenging, but I believe we're on the right path. The team has been incredible, and May's expertise has been invaluable." Richard nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I knew you were the right person for this role. Remember, it's important to celebrate the small victories along the way. You're leading a talented team, and your leadership is making a difference." Jacob appreciated Richard's encouragement. "Thanks, Richard. I'll make sure to acknowledge the team's hard work and keep pushing forward." The recognition from Richard and the board boosted Jacob's confidence. He continued to lead with determination, focusing on building a sustainable and successful presence in the Asian market. He knew that the challenges were far from over, but he was prepared to face them head-on. As the expansion efforts progressed, Jacob also made sure to maintain the balance he had learned to value. He took time to recharge, spent weekends with his family, and kept up with his running routine. This balance helped him stay grounded and energized for the demanding work ahead. Jacob's journey as Vice President of International Operations was filled with new challenges, but it was also a testament to his growth and resilience. He had learned to navigate the complexities of international business, build strong relationships, and lead with integrity and adaptability. With each milestone, Jacob felt a deeper sense of fulfillment. He knew that the success of the company depended not only on his efforts, but also on the collective strength of his team. Together, they were building a future marked by innovation, collaboration, and global reach. Jacob's story was far from over. The road ahead was filled with opportunities and obstacles, but he was ready to embrace them with the same determination and passion that had brought him this far. As he looked towards the future, Jacob knew that he was prepared to lead, inspire, and make a lasting impact on the world. As the expansion into the Asian market continued to gain momentum, Jacob's leadership was further solidified within the company. His ability to navigate complex challenges and build strong relationships was recognized not only by his peers, but also by industry leaders. Jacob felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility, knowing that his efforts were contributing to the company's growth and success. One of Jacob's key initiatives was to establish a robust corporate social responsibility (CSR) program in the Asian market. He believed that for the company to truly succeed, it needed to give back to the communities it operated in. Jacob envisioned a program that would focus on education, healthcare, and environmental sustainability. I want our CSR efforts to be impactful and meaningful, Jacob said during a planning session. We need to work closely with local communities to understand their needs and create programs that will make a real difference. May agreed wholeheartedly. Absolutely, Jacob. We can partner with local NGOs and government agencies to ensure our initiatives are well received and effective. Jacob and May spearheaded the CSR program, starting with a series of educational workshops in underserved communities. They collaborated with local schools and educational institutions to provide resources and training for teachers and students. The response was overwhelmingly positive, and Jacob felt a deep sense of fulfillment seeing the tangible impact of their efforts. In addition to education, Jacob focused on healthcare initiatives. He partnered with local clinics and hospitals to provide medical supplies and support health education campaigns. The company's efforts helped improve access to healthcare for many people in the region, further solidifying its positive reputation. Environmental sustainability was another cornerstone of Jacob's CSR vision. He launched a project to promote sustainable farming practices and conservation efforts. By working with local farmers and environmental groups, Jacob's team helped preserve natural resources and promote eco-friendly practices. The success of the CSR program brought Jacob a sense of accomplishment beyond financial metrics. He saw firsthand the positive changes in the communities they served and knew that the company's legacy would be measured by the lives they touched. As the program gained recognition, Jacob was invited to speak at various industry conferences and events. He shared the company's journey and the importance of integrating CSR into business strategies. His speeches inspired other leaders to consider the broader impact of their actions and the potential for businesses to drive social change. Back at the company, Jacob's leadership continued to inspire his team. He made it a priority to mentor younger employees, sharing his experiences and lessons learned. He believed in nurturing the next generation of leaders and creating a culture of continuous learning and growth. One day, while reviewing the progress of the CSR program, Jacob received a call from Richard. "Jacob, I have some exciting news," Richard said, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "The board has decided to establish a new award for outstanding leadership and community impact. And I'm thrilled to tell you that you are the first recipient of this award." Jacob was taken aback, feeling a rush of emotions. "Thank you, Richard. This is an incredible honor. I couldn't have achieved any of this without the support of the team and the guidance from leaders like you." "You've earned it, Jacob," Richard replied. "Your dedication to the company and the communities we serve is truly inspiring. This award is a testament to your hard work and vision." At the award ceremony, Jacob stood before his colleagues and industry peers, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "This award is not just for me," he said, addressing the audience. "It's for everyone who has supported and believed in our mission. Together, we are building a legacy that goes beyond business success. We are making a difference in people's lives, and that is the true measure of our impact." The applause that followed was a reminder of the collective effort and the power of shared vision. Jacob felt a profound sense of purpose, knowing that he was part of something greater than himself. In the months that followed, Jacob continued to drive the company's growth and CSR initiatives. His efforts were recognized globally, and the company became a model for integrating social responsibility with business strategy. As Jacob looked back on his journey, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had faced numerous challenges, but each one had shaped him into the leader he had become. With the support of his team, family, and mentors, Jacob had built a legacy of impact and innovation. Jacob's story was a testament to the power of resilience, vision, and compassion. He knew that the future held many more challenges and opportunities, but he was ready to face them with the same determination and dedication that had brought him this far. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jacob looked forward to the next chapter of his journey, confident in his ability to lead, inspire, and make a lasting difference in the world. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you like the story. Also watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.